Hello again, my dudes. Welcome back to the channel. This is Kadima, and in this video I want to talk about some of the mistakes I still see a lot of people making in this game. I have helped more than 300 people via SharePlay by now. I have watched countless videos of other people playing the game. I have seen a lot of posts on social media about this build, this setup. Should I use this? Should I use that? And it kind of flashes to me that most people are not really paying attention to the details of the game. Now, detail number one I want to talk about that people make as a big mistake is not upgrading their gourd. Something as simple as the gourd, a lot of people are not upgrading as they progress in the game. Now, that monkey right here in the village is your best friend when it comes to your gourd. He's the number one responsible for upgrading your gourd as you go. Initially, before chapter 3, he's not here. This is the Zodiac village. This is something you have to unlock in chapter 3. But before that, you can find him in chapter 1 near the White Marsh. You can find him there. So anytime you run into a gourd upgrade or a drink upgrade, you should visit him immediately, as he will upgrade stuff for you. Now, to upgrade your gourd, you are going to need Luigia Fragment Vines. To upgrade your drink, you're going to need Awakened Vine Worms. These are scattered across the chapters, multiple places to find them, and the monkey himself actually sells you some as well. So you should visit him often, especially after completing a chapter. You should finish a chapter and the first thing you do is go and talk to him, because you might have upgrades on you, or he might be selling you some, and this will upgrade your gourd and your drink so you can get more gourd uses, means that you can heal more times, and you can get upgraded drinks, meaning that your gourd will heal you more every time, so more healing per use. These both things are very important to make your game much easier. Another thing I want to talk about is the soaks. The soaks that you use and the drink that you use are very important. I strongly recommend that you actually use the initial drink that the game starts you with, which is the coconut wine. When you fully upgrade the coconut wine, it will become the monkey brew. The monkey brew will simply say each sip recovers 50% of your maximum health, and the rest is just story. Now, other drinks don't do that. This one recovers 30%, this one recovers 60%, but it makes you drunk. This one gives you 24%, this one 36, 35, 35, and 20% with a slow regen of 25. Now, when you compare all these things, when it comes to pure healing, nothing is better than the monkey brew. You also get 3 soak slots when it's fully upgraded, and in those slots you might rethink what you are using. Don't just use random stuff. Use what suits your style, and please use the bee mountain stone. Everybody, regardless of your build, you should use bee mountain stone. This is by far the best soak in the whole game. It can be found in chapter 4 in the mountain trail, and when you reach the temple of yellow flowers, the very first step of the temple, as you are starting to climb, you can find this in a little chest there, next to a tree in some sort of a small plaza area. Make sure you find it, make sure you use it. If you read the description, it grants a considerable chance to take a sip without consuming gourd uses. This is massive. This means that you have 10 gourd uses from your gourd when it's fully upgraded, right? But these 10 uses with that soak can become 12, 13. If you're lucky enough, they'll become 15 uses. That means you can heal 15 times. This is massive, especially against hard bosses such as the Great Sage or Erlang, the divine guy. Now, another thing is, as I was saying, the other soaks that you use. I like to have soaks that on top of the 50% heal I get a bit of health regen. The Graceful Orchid is the best one when it comes to that. It gives you at about 10% slow regen on top of the 50% you get. But this one requires you to find all the seeds. This one does kind of the same thing, but only for 5% of total healing. So when you put all of these together, I get 3 gourd uses, and each gourd will recover about 65% of my HP back. That is massive. Now, talking about the gourd, as I said, don't forget to explore every corner of every chapter to find those vines and those wine worms so you can upgrade it as you go, and visit the monkey frequently to make sure you upgrade it. Another thing I want to talk about is the mistake when it comes to armor. I see a lot of people, especially on social media, oh, look at this, should I use this set, should I use that set, what is the best set in the game? Now, the straightforward answer is there isn't a best set in the game. It depends on what chapter you are, because according to what chapter you are, only certain sets are going to be available, and also it depends on what you want to do. Now, the set I'm currently using, for example, is the best example when it comes to people making mistakes and messing up their game by simply swapping to a different armor set based on defense alone. Let's take a look at my numbers. On the right, you can see I have 220 defense using the golden set. As you can see, I have the complete set right here. And as you can see, I have all the pieces of the golden set. Again, 220 defense. Now, let's take a look at what the set actually does. Gilded Radiance. With 2 pieces, for a short duration after performing a spirit skill or using a vessel, considerably increases attack. With all 4 pieces equipped, upon critical hits and defeats, grants a small amount of ki. Let's put this into perspective. Every time I use a spirit or I use a vessel, I get increased attack. Every time I do critical hits or I defeat enemies, I get more ki, which means I can use spirit and vessels more often. Do you see where I'm going with this? Now, on top of that, the mask, as a unique effect, as you can read at the top, upon successful hits from spirit skills, grants massive focus upon reverting. This is actually quite good. It's a good buff to have. Now, this armor set can be crafted and equipped at the very start of chapter 4. As soon as you start it, you can go to a shrine and you can craft it and you can use it. However, midway through chapter 4, you are going to fight your NPC companion Baji, and after you defeat him and you visit the shrine will tell you that now you can craft the non-pure armor set. Now, as you can see, this one has 36 defense and this one has 40 defense. Most people will only look at the defense value of the armor, and that is a big mistake. Let me show you why. I have 220 defense, right? Now, if I swap my armor to the new armor that I can craft in chapter 4, which is the non-pure armor, wow, I gained incredible 19 defense. So I now have 19 more defense than I did with the golden armor set. But let's take a look at what this actually does. The unique effect of the boot says, for a brief moment after detransforming, and detransforming means after you use your transformation, you have to eventually detransform either manually or by your time running out or your HP running out. After detransforming and exiting spirit skills, all actions cost no stamina. Sounds good, but really? Do you really need your actions to cost no stamina? You shouldn't. You should have enough stamina by this point that you will never run out of stamina. But then let's take a look at the set itself. From Mud to Lotus. Mud that stains upon detransformation and exiting spirit skills grants considerable damage reduction for a short duration. Great. You take a little bit less damage for about 10 seconds. Amazing. And then when you have the complete set, when stained with mud, increases might recovery rate. So might is what you need to use your transformation. Dodges and perfect dodges also recover a small amount of additional might. Great. Do you really need to use your transformations that many times during your playthrough that this set is actually going to matter to you? If that is the case, you are doing something wrong. You shouldn't need your transformations that often. Transformation should be something that you use maybe against a boss. And even with this set, you are not going to get your transformation back. You will either die or you have killed the boss by then. By the time you get your transformation back, the boss should be dead. or you would have been killed. So what's the benefit here? You got 19 more defense, but then your unique effects and your set bonuses are crap compared to what you had. So no, go with the golden set as you were before. Another thing I want you to notice again about armor sets is the Yaksha boss armor. Now, this looks very nice, and you are all devil and you look very cool, amazing. But let's take a look at what the armor says. Pillar Stance, varied combos, Sweeping Gale and Churning Gale deal additional damage. Great, if you're using Pillar Stance, you get a bit more damage from those moves. And then it says, unleash the rage within, significantly increasing damage both dealt and taken. What does this actually mean in numbers? If you take a look at the right side to the attributes, you see I now have a damage bonus of 25%. As if I unequip this, that goes away. But if I have the full set, I get 25% damage dealt bonus. But I also have a damage reduction of minus 30%. That means that from every hit, I'm going to take 30% more damage. So, unless you are very good at dodging or perfect dodging, do you understand what this is going to do to you? You are going to be killed by any boss in 3 or 4 hits, period. So, yes, you're going to do more damage and you look amazing because you look like the devil and it's cool, but you're going to die very quickly unless you're careful or unless you're very good at dodging. So this is the kind of thing I want to talk about when it comes to the armor set. Another thing I want to mention is every single spirit in the game has an equipped effect. You might want to consider what spirit you want to have to match what you want to do. I'm currently using Tiger Acolyte because it has an equipped effect that moderately increases critical damage, and I want to have a ton of critical damage for what I'm doing. Therefore, this is a good choice. Now, if you want more mana, the gourd Taoist would be the thing for you. If you want more defense, the Wandering Wit. If you want more poison damage or poison resistance, go with Gunamo. So you should look at more than just what the spirit is and look beyond that. Also, the vessels have the exact same thing. They have an equipped effect. The Weaver Needle, for example, slightly increases critical hit chance and critical hit damage, as the Wind Tamer, for example, slightly increases damage reduction. So, depending on what you are experiencing at the time, you might want to adapt your vessels to your needs. Now, that being said, I want to also mention another few mistakes I see a lot of people doing. Not unlocking the third Curious slot. Now, the third Curious slot is a massive gain for your character, especially for builds like mine, which I have three Curious of exactly the same thing. Having the third one makes a big difference. If I remove this, I immediately lose, how much was it? I lose 9% critical damage. I want those 9% critical damage. So I want that third slot. To unlock this third slot, you just have to come to the Zodiac Village. I have a guide on how to unlock the Zodiac Village on my channel. Feel free to check it out. And you have to defeat the blacksmith. And the blacksmith is right here. And then people defeat the blacksmith, or they don't, but once you do, you get the third Curious. But another thing they do immediately is that they talk to him and they see the option, oh, okay, craft, oh, upgrade armor. I can upgrade my armor. Don't do it, especially in your first playthrough. As you progress in the game will give you better sets of armor that are better for what's coming than what you can upgrade. You are going to waste your materials on stuff like the Galeguard Beast, which, don't get me wrong, it's a good set, but it's entirely around perfect dodges. If you are not that good at perfect dodging, why are you wasting your materials on this? Now, this one, for example, it's all around rock solid. If you're not very good at pairing with a rock solid spell, why are you going to use this? Why are you going to waste your materials on this? So think your priorities carefully when it comes to using your materials. Now, another one last thing I want to talk about before I let you all go is the weapon itself. Funny enough, I have a lot of people saying, what is the best weapon in the game? Now, it depends on your playstyle. It depends on what stance you are using. For example, I'm currently using thrust stance. For thrust stance, the best weapon in the game is obviously the tri-point double-edged spear. It clearly says, upon performing forceful thrust, which is a thrust stance ability, shoot swords from the staff to attack. Now, if I'm using smash stance, this is not going to do anything for me. It's going to integrate spear techniques into the light attack combo. Great. But besides that, it doesn't really do anything, as this one increases the damage dealt by thrust stance moves, so you want to use the thrust stance. Another one is the gold long staff, for example, and the consequential upgrade that you can get in New Game Plus. It clearly says moderately increases the damage dealt by all pillar stance moves, so you might want to use the pillar stance with this thing. Or else, you don't really get nothing better out of it besides the 108 attack. And if you're using Smash Stance, the Jingle Bang is definitely your #1 choice. So you see what I'm going with this? You need to adapt your stance to your staff and your staff to your stance. They should match each other. They should be like a married couple. Instead of you using Smash Stance with a weapon that is better with thrust, or instead of you using pillar stance with a weapon that is better with smash. So you see where I'm going? Now, another one thing I want to mention, and this will be the last thing, the last mistake for this video, it's the self-advance. When you start the game, I see a lot of people completely ignoring the stamina tree, they completely ignore martial arts, and they go straight for the immobilize, they go straight for the cloud steps, they go straight for the pluck of many, and they go straight for transformations. These should not be your priority. Your #1 source of damage is your staff, especially in the beginning of the game. Now, how can you improve the damage of your staff? In the staff stances. So this is where you want to start investing your points from the beginning of the game. And as soon as you can, invest on the left side, because this is where you unlock the 4 focus charged points, and this is the #1 source of heavy damage in the game. Another thing you want to unlock is the martial arts and the stamina tree as quickly as you can. And then maybe start investing in health, maybe start investing in some more mana so you can use a bit more spells. Stamina, critical hit chance, critical hit damage, simple investment on attack power, and then once you have made all of those investments, it's time to look into immobilize. It's time to look into pluck of many. I don't even upgrade Cloud Step unless I'm making a build entirely around Cloud Step. If I am not, Cloud Step is something that I only use as a quick escape from death. If I'm about to get hit by a boss and die, I use Cloud Step. Besides that, I don't really use it that often. And transformations should only be something as a bonus to top it up. If you are over leveled, if you're like level 150, this is when you should look into the transformations. But this is pretty much it, guys. I hope my following up on my original video of the mistakes you should avoid in the game helps you. If it does, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I hope I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Cheerio!